The next question I want to deal with is kind of a heartbreaker. It's from a 57-year-old woman whose daughter recently told her that she was going to take space from her mother. And that includes the 57-year-old woman not being allowed to see her grandsons, which are ages 2 and 4. And she wants to know how to handle that. And so the first thing I want to acknowledge from one mother and soon to be grandmother to another is how much this hurts. And I encourage you to allow for that pain and to feel your feelings instead of thinking about them. What we do in order to avoid our feelings is we go up into our head and try to think our way out of them, which you can't. There is grief and hurt and rejection, probably shame and guilt and regret. There's all these feelings inside your body. And so the first thing I want to do is bring you into the present moment, that this isn't about the past, this isn't about the future. This is about how you feel in the present moment. And these emotions are happening in your body. Your body doesn't speak English, that's your brain. Your body speaks energy. And so the first thing you have to do is allow and accept your own feelings, not even so much the external circumstance to begin with, but just this situation, the story that's in your head, the circumstance that's come up is bringing up for you a mixed bag of feelings. And so emotional hygiene is really about being able to say, this is what I'm feeling, and not justify those feelings. You might also be feeling anger and blame at your daughter or at somebody else. And all of those feelings have to be allowed. And I want you to use the phrase, I got this from Dr. Russell Kennedy's podcast, Anxiety RX, sensation without explanation. And so the first thing you need to do is to allow these sensations to exist in your body. Stop, drop, feel. And then just notice where you're feeling this energy in your body. And if it's really intense, this may be a full-time job. You don't want to try to feel and process your emotions while you're busy in a work day or having a conversation or running 100 miles an hour. You want to stop and process the energy. And here's why. Let me enroll you in why it's so important to process the energy. Because you think how you feel. And any unprocessed emotion that's in your body is directing your brain. You're going to think like you're angry. You're going to think like you're guilty. So emotions cloud your perspective. They cloud your judgment. They limit your options. How you think about things when you're hurt or angry is a pattern. It's from the past. And if you allow those emotions to dictate your thinking, then your future will be a trajectory of your past. Okay. So processing the energy, one of the tools that I use is I put my hand on my heart and I say, I can feel this. I can feel this. And you just feel it. And instead of, again, thinking about it, it might be pulsing, it might be pounding, it might be hot, it might be cold, it might be swirling, it might be moving, it might be heavy, it might be sharp, it might be achy. Just notice in your body where you're feeling these things and observe yourself in the body feeling the feelings. Like it's just a temporary experience. Allow the energy to be there, allow it to move through you instead of getting stuck in the story. Because that's the emotional bypass of the overthinker, is that I don't like the way I feel. So I'm going to go up in my head and try to think my way out of it. I'm going to tell myself a different story, or I'm going to make myself a promise, or, bring something from the past or project it in the future. Your feelings are happening right now. So feel your feelings in the present moment, all of them. And then understand that, breaking them down and acknowledging, I feel this way, I feel that way, and not judging yourself for having those feelings. It's okay to have your feelings. It is safe for you to have these feelings. Just allowing that to be what it is very important. But then let's go deeper into it. So if you want your future to be different than your past, then you have to stop using the past to predict the future. What you want to decide is how you want to show up with this situation. It is what it is. Your daughter has made a decision, and that feels really painful, but it is also a decision in this moment. It does not mean that this is going to be the state in 6 months or 1 year or 10 years. All right. So, what you want to do is clean the slate as much as you can and just be here now. And then think about how you want to show up for this situation. And then think about the best version of you. How would she respond to this? How do you want to be in this situation? Do you want to be graceful? Do you want to be compassionate? Do you want to be accepting, understanding? Do you want to feel powerful? Right now, I'm going to pinpoint the power thing because it feels very disempowering. You feel like you've had your choices taken away from you. But I can tell you that you always have a choice. Your choice is not what the circumstances is. Your choice is how you respond to that circumstance. So I want you to imagine, if it's not yourself, then a role model or somebody who you look up to, whether it be a fictional character or whether it be some role model that you've read, Brene Brown, Oprah Winfrey, a pastor, or your mother, or somebody that you really look up to. How might they respond to the situation? Because here's the deal. If you respond to the situation as somebody who is guilty and ashamed and also angry and blaming, if you respond in that way, you're going to get more of that. So what you want to do is change your normal pattern of response. So thinking about, how do I want to respond to this situation? And imagine from your daughter's perspective, what would she need to see to at some point soften and allow the connection that you want to be rebuilt? What would she need to see? And I don't mean do what she wants you to do, because, unless your behavior has been absolutely atrocious, sometimes people can use grandchildren to kind of manipulate or get what they want. And you don't want to continue to play into any of those codependent dynamics. I love Mel Robbins, again, her thought, let them, let me. Let your daughter do what she needs to do and allow that to be what it is without feeling like you're justified in taking actions because the kids are so young and you can't miss this time of their life. It is what it is. She set a boundary. Let her set that boundary and let you decide the most powerful, graceful way that you can respond so that when you look back 1 year, 5 year, 10 years from now, you will be proud of how you showed up. And that's what we want to change here, is thinking about, what is the best version of myself? How will I feel proud so that no matter what happens as a result of her decisions, I know that I showed up. I'm proud of the way I showed up. I did the best that I could. And, there's nothing else I could have done differently. There's nothing I wish I would have done differently. I know I've had breaks in relationships in my own life. And one of the litmus tests that I like is, do I want to feel rejection, or do I want to feel regret? And for me, when I've tried to reconnect with a relationship, I always think, I'm not going to act in a way of protecting myself. I'd rather extend myself to someone and experience rejection than wonder later if there was more that I could have or should have done. So I want you to think about, what is the best way that you can show up for this? How can you choose rejection over regret if you had to choose between the two? And then what actions would you need to take to, if assuming that you want to reconnect with your daughter, what actions would you need to take on a consistent basis to let her know that you're consistent, that she is safe with you, that her kids are safe in that relationship, if that's something that needs to be dealt with at all? You didn't share, the what caused the break, but as this is not about the alcohol, but what kind of is. I'm assuming that perhaps there's some behavior that she felt that she needed to protect herself and her kids from. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, not you, just in case, that would be more helpful. So let's say that that you haven't been trustworthy in the past or that your drinking has been a problem, then the actions that you need to take are not proving to her that you've changed, but proving to yourself with daily, consistent actions. And when it comes to drinking, I like to reframe alcohol consumption as more of the output than the input. We all like to think, well, I need to change how I drink so that all my other problems get fixed. And truthfully, you need to change the reasons why you're using alcohol in the first place. And that's like the last domino that falls. So how do you go upstream and see what changes do I need to make in my relationship with myself so that I am acting in honor and integrity, taking care of my needs, what I need to do. Instead of looking at what your daughter needs, this is where you put your own oxygen mask on. She's cut you off. So what do you need to know, to give yourself evidence every single day that you are trustworthy? And my favorite reframe on trust is we think that in order to rebuild trust, we have to prove or guarantee with our words that this will never happen again. And the truth is you can't guarantee things like that. The trust reframe is I trust myself to learn from my mistakes. I trust myself that every situation is a learning opportunity, including this situation with your daughter. What can you learn about yourself, about life, about your daughter? How can you look back? What do you need to do so that when you look back on this situation, it becomes a source of wisdom instead of a source of pain? Instead of reacting to the immediacy and the anxiety of, I have to fix this because I can't be okay if this is the way it is. No, I can be okay. I am okay even though this isn't okay. How can you be okay even though this situation isn't okay? It's not what you want to have happen. And the more you can give yourself evidence every single day that you are okay, that you are resilient, every single day, you are taking care of your own needs. You are repairing your relationship with yourself so that you can stand confident in your ability to re-enter that relationship if and when she invites you to do so. So I want you to consider what you need to do to say that I have done my best in this situation, that I am responding to this in a way that I am proud of. And then lastly, I'll give you a little bit of advice. If I had broken off a relationship with my mother to protect my children and or myself, then I would think that consistent actions that are not attached to me granting forgiveness, me granting acceptance, me agreeing that you'll never do that again, that you could take some actions that are just you showing her what you are doing, you continuing to reach out again without any expectations from her. You don't need her to change. You're changing and you're interested in keeping her posted. The only thing that would make that not a good piece of advice is if she's asked you to not contact her. If that's the case, you might ask her, is there anything that I can do that would feel safe to you, where I can, send the kids cards or send the kids gifts so that, outside of your decision to keep them out of my presence, they still feel like they have a grandma that cares for them. Is there anything that I can do? And then respect her boundaries. And then if you still feel like you want to buy them gifts or send them things, and let's say she said, no, that's not appropriate right now, then keep those for yourself. Keep those in a closet so that someday when the repair is made in the relationship, you can, say, hey, you guys want to open the gifts that I got for you when you were 3 and 5? And I hope for your sake that it doesn't go on that long, but you can't control what she does. You can control how you show up. And again, I personally would choose the pain of rejection over and continue to take the action so that I feel good about how I'm showing up, and then just give it time. The other thing is, the last thing I will tell you is you want to keep hope alive and not tell yourself this is a permanent thing, because you don't know. It could be a permanent thing, but you won't know that until the end of your life. And so, how could you think and behave as though you believe it's possible for there to be a repair here? Because you're going to have faith in something. You're either going to have faith that it's not fixable, or you're going to have faith that it is fixable. And if you have faith that it's not fixable because you either screwed up too bad, or it's just your daughter's never going to change her mind, you're going to act like that's true. If you have faith and a belief that time and corrective actions can change this, then you're going to continue to give and create time and corrective actions. Okay. So I hope this helps for you. And again, my heart goes out to you, and I'm so glad that you reached out, and I hope you found this helpful.